Edición especial, entrevista a Chuck Schumer.
Familia, bienvenidos a esta edición de Estudio DC aquí en HR1. On this occasion, we welcome a very special guest, a neoyorquino de verdad from Brooklyn, New York. His name is Charles Ellis Schumer. He's known as Chuck, but he actually is one of us, one that can fit in anywhere in the nation. As a matter of fact, tiene la costumbre de visitar los 62 condados que componen el estado de Nueva York. Senator, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Gerson, glad to be here. First time I'm on your show as majority leader.
There you go. Bravo.
First from New York ever.
First from New York. And now that you make that point, Senator, ese punto es bien importante because there's a lot of attention being paid the first that we've established after the November election of 2020. But we've also you're the first person that is Jewish. And I think that is an oversight. No es que culpa de nadie. It's nobody's fault. But that is significant, especially for these times. How do you feel about that, being the first and nobody really, nobody's saying, tenemos un judío ahora, but it's significant.
Well, Gerson, we all know the struggles America has had with equality, economic, racial. But there are good things. So my father was an exterminator, never made much money, tried to go to college, couldn't. And here I am, a majority leader. So the fact that I am Jewish, is there anti-Semitism, which we must fight? Yes. But that hasn't held me back with my colleagues or with anyone else. And the fact that I'm come from humble origins and was able to rise so hard, that's the kind of good in America we have to restore. It's faded away from us to some extent, to a significant extent in the last 10 years, but we got to get it back. The American dream. If you ask the average American, black, brown, white, Asian, what is the American dream to you? They'd put it simply. They'd say, it means if I work hard, I'll be doing better 10 years than I'm doing today, and my kids will be doing still better than me. When that dream sours, when people don't believe that, we can elect a demagogue like Trump.
I'm going to jump off that point. Porque el significado de lo que acaba de decir usted, de inmigrantes, lo que yo encuentro bien interesante, what I find very interesting is that there's a particular understanding from the Jewish people of the situation we have here con los latinos, los hispanos.
Sí.
And it's not only the freedom riders in the South and being there with blacks and getting beat up and getting killed, but it's also, you just said something that is of particular significance to the audience of HITN. Ese sueño americano, that American dream, do you believe that it still exists for us?
We have to make it. People, it's fading. It was much stronger years ago. Many things have happened. Economic inequality, wealth aggregating to the top. That's affected people of every race, religion, creed, color. But we've also had the anti-immigrant sentiment, which has been stronger in the last 10 years. You mentioned my full name, Charles Ellis Schumer, and it relates to your point about the Jewish people having sympathy for the immigrants. My name was named for Ellis Island. Not only that, but we named our daughter, her middle name is Emma, the poet who wrote on the Statue of Liberty, "Give me your poor, your tired, your huddled masses yearning to be free." We believe immigration is in my bones. It's who I believe in. We named Allison's middle name Emma long before any of this happened.
Before
That's what I believe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Precisely, Senator. Precisamente, senador. El problema que tenemos es como que esto está de momento se inventó lo de los inmigrantes, pero esto es una nación creada para inmigrantes y por inmigrantes. This is a nation built by immigrants and for immigrants. Otherwise, we would stop growing.
You know what the number? They talk about worker shortage, and the right wing says it's the unemployment insurance. Listen to this. We took, previous to Trump, about 1.3 million new people came to America, legal and undocumented. Now it's less than 500,000. It's probably the #1 reason there's a shortage of workers. We depend on immigrants so many different ways, but our economy depends on them. And what COVID showed was even more how much we depended on immigrants and how immigrants, undocumented many of them, risked their lives to save other lives on the front lines in health. Can I tell you one little story?
Absolutely.
So I was introduced on Zoom by Ajen Poo. Do you know who she is?
Yes.
She works for the home
Yes.
health care workers, to a man named Recto, an immigrant, Hispanic immigrant. I'm sure he was undocumented, although he didn't say it on the Zoom. So his job was to take care of 3 elderly people. And every morning in the Bronx, he'd get on a bus, go over to where they were, take care of them. He'd save their lives. They wouldn't be able to exist without him, and go home. COVID occurs. The bus is canceled. Recto, who is probably paid not much more than minimum wage. They don't pay home health care workers enough. It's something we're going to try to fix in the Build Back Better bill. He paid for a cab every day. He has no money. This is the story I tell to the senators from Wyoming and here and there. They don't understand how important immigrants are and how hard they work, and they're part of America. If we stop immigrants, we're going to become a society that loses ground. When as you know, I proposed the comprehensive immigration reform bill that now is like Biden's bill, but with McCain, we passed it in the Senate. The CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, estimated it would grow the gross GDP by 3.5%, more than any Republican tax cut or Democratic spending program. There is no better economic engine for America than immigrants.
You mentioned McCain. You're referring to the late Senator John McCain.
Yes.
I'm old enough to remember.
He's my age.
Right, so we're the same age.
He's 3 days older, folks.
Yeah, that's right. I'm his senior.
But he doesn't look it.
Well, neither do you. You look great, and I don't have your energy.
I feel about 40.
You feel about? No, I know you act like.
You know what
40.
I tell people about this job I have as majority leader with only 50 votes and the Republicans? I say it's the hardest job I've ever had, but I have more energy and more enthusiasm for it than any job I've ever had because it is so damn important.
This is why we appreciate the time you're giving us, because you know you're in a tight schedule. You came here to Brooklyn Navy Yard, to our main studios. You didn't have to do this. You got national chain calling, so we appreciate it. But you're talking to an audience that needs to hear from a person like you with your background, and they don't need to. It's appreciated because you're not telling stories that you read on the internet. Son historias de verdad, de corazón. And that heart that you have in terms of understanding. I remember when you first started, I was at El Diario de la Prensa as editor-in-chief.
Yes.
Y usted me dijo, en 6 meses vamos a tener la reforma migratoria. You told me then, and there was a point, and you were disappointed. I remember you talking, we talked, and you said, Gerson, it didn't work out. Why is it that we can't get immigration reform? And I know that there's people like you, Democrats and Republicans, like the late Senator McCain, even Bush II wanted to get some in 2004.
He did.
Right.
Reagan and Bush were pro-immigrant each in their own way. But the new Republican Party is not. Trump practiced the policy of blame. Not positive, not here's how I make your life better, but instead, here's why your life is no good, blame them. And who is at the top of his list? Immigrants. The story is told that two right-wingers, can't remember who, you'll remember who they were if I remembered their name, went to Macomb County, Michigan, which is auto country and all the blue-collar workers, to try how do we win the Republican Party, how do we win the presidency back? And Obama was the president. And they came to the conclusion, talking to some of these people, better to attack immigrants than attack African Americans. What a devil's bargain. And Trump adopted it. And here's the other problem, Gerson. It's so funny. The people who are from areas with lots of immigrants are much more pro-immigrant than the people from areas with no immigrants at all. But even they are beginning to learn, because now with such a cutback, the farmers, even the big agribusiness and the little farmers can't get workers.
I'm going to cut him a little slack here. Le voy a dar un poco de espacio aquí. Is it because of fear? Is the majority of America, the browning of America, is that what they're afraid of? That they're going to lose their standing? De que se vamos a convertir en personas de color? ¿A eso es que temen o es otra cosa? You just mentioned the fact that, you know, if you have immigrants around you, you learn to respect them, their work ethic, the fact that they don't want to take charity, they work, they even are generous with what they don't have.
You know, when we look at our Hispanic community, one of the major issues is help small business, because immigrants want to establish businesses. It's a ladder up. It's beautiful. Here's the reasons. One, there is some racism. Racism has been the poison in America. When de Tocqueville, the famous historian, I'm sure you're a very erudite man, So you read about him, came to America in the 1830s. He said, we're a puny little country. He said, this will become the greatest country in the world, but one thing could do it in racism. So we have had that since 1619, since slavery, and it spreads over to black, brown, Asian, Muslim, you name it. Okay. There's some of that. There's also fear. Fear.
Temor a qué? Fear of what?
Fear of not having the American dream, and there are two choices when you have that fear. One is a positive path, how we do things better. That's what Biden's trying to do. That's what we Democrats and I am trying to do. But the other is blame. Don't blame yourself.
The scapegoat.
Scapegoat. And there's a lot of that. So what's the antidote? The best antidote, of course, is to answer it, but is to give people that path. And that's what we tried to do in the ARP that we passed, which began to do that. And that's what we're trying to do now in the Build Back Better plan that President Biden has.
Please, díganos un poco más, explícanos más precisamente ese dinero que es trillones de dólares, miles de billones de dólares. Explíquenos qué es lo que se quieren hacer, porque se habla de infraestructura, pero qué en realidad qué se va a hacer con ese dinero que ya alguna gente ha recibido. With that money that people started receiving, there's already a change in their lives. But you have trillions of dollars that are there, billions of dollars that will be spent in infrastructure. Please tell us, explain that to us.
Well, let me say one other thing first. The other thing that's coming to people, so we got people the checks. You know, McConnell didn't want to get the checks. I said, elect me majority leader and we will get the checks, and people got them. Any individual under $75,000, a couple under $150 got the $1,400, and people saw that. And they saw elections made a difference. You know, so many people say, you know, it doesn't make a darn bit of difference who I vote for. We got them the checks and the vaccines, and we put communities of color first, not last. But here's something else in that bill that people should, your listeners should know, because it's going to come up in a month or two. We nearly doubled the child tax credit and the earned income tax credit. If you are a single parent making below $75,000, a couple making below $150,000, starting in July, the federal government will send you a check for $250 for each child you have 6 to 17, and $300 for each child you have 0 to 6. For a whole year. Now, we want to make it permanent if we can. It will take half the kids in America out of poverty. This is going to give people hope. We know this, Gerson. When a child is born into poverty, and they may not get properly fed or educated or health care, by the time they're 16, 17, 18, they're in a ditch. Now, some of them, to their credit, climb out on their own. But if we could avoid that ditch, not only would it be good for the children in poverty and their families, it'd be good for America.
Usted dice...
And by the way, can I say one other
Sure.
thing? I'm so proud of this. So the Republican big initiative when they were in charge with Trump was cutting taxes on the rich. Something like 83% of the dollars were spent went to the top 1%. You know what the top 1% got in our ARP bill? 0. And the lowest 20% in America got a 20% increase in income. We aimed it at the people who needed help. We are trying to restore that American dream. And it goes to everybody, black, white, brown. Try to restore that American dream. No American expects us to snap our fingers and make all the problems go away. But if we show the path, we can turn people away from the negative types. Blame the immigrants, blame the black people, blame this, blame that.
Yeah. El senador Schumer acaba de hablar de lo que se llama en español atolladero. That ditch that you just mentioned, ese atolladero que él habla, que va a poder ayudar a las familias a salir de la pobreza, es algo que es importante. And I make the point of emphasizing the significance of what you just said. That it wasn't just giving money away, the 200, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's also getting out of that ditch. Ese atolladero económico that some people say, well, what am I going to do with $250, you know? Because they're not living paycheck to paycheck,
yeah.
Which is what
they don't know.
Exactly.
You're not going to go spend it on something frivolous if you need to pay the rent and you'll be kicked out of your house. You're not going to spend it on something frivolous if your child needs good food and you can't afford it without it. Of course, it's such... the right wing gets me so mad, and they have this media machine that makes it like all poor people all are lazy. They're the hardworking people. They need some help.
I'm going to take you back to election night of 2020. We actually were transmitting from the same studio and seeing democracy at work, the pre-voting that went on, the record number not only for Democrats but for Republicans. The nation participated in this American democracy.
More than ever.
More than ever, historical numbers. Senador Schumer, ¿qué pasó con eso que vimos tan bonito que fue la democracia en acción? What happened to that action? We saw it. It works. The right to vote. And now it's being threatened in Florida, in Georgia, in Texas. Arizona is looking at...
Wisconsin, Michigan, not just all of the Republican states, not just the southern ones. All of them are doing this.
Our viewers right now, nuestros televidentes, vinieron a este país buscando mejorar su situación de participación, de vivir en una democracia. When they came here, part of the dream is also to live in a democracy, to select who they elect to the school board, to all the way the presidency. What shape are we in? What shape is democracy in right now? ¿En qué condición está la democracia ahora mismo?
Well, as you said, having a lot of people vote was a great thing. When you lose an election in a democracy, you're supposed to say, why didn't I get the majority? How do I win some of the people over who didn't vote for me? In a dictatorship, you know what you say. Stop the people who didn't vote for me from voting. That is what these Republican legislators, and this is totally partisan, not a single Democrat is participating in this, and they're trying to take away the right to vote up and down the line. We have an antidote to that called S1. It was HR1, the For the People Act in the House. I, as majority leader, get to pick the first 5 bills. I made the most important one, S1. And it would do 3 very important things.
The S is the Senate one.
Senate one, you got it, right. One, most important probably, it would allow the Justice Department to come in and undo all of these things that discriminated. Who are they putting in the way of voting? Poor people, people of color, young people, urban people, Democrats. That's what they want. So number one, the Justice Department. The second thing it does is it gets rid of all that dark money that has cascaded into our politics. You don't even know who's giving it. One of the reasons our Republican friends are so against climate and green is something like 1/4 to 1/3 of their dark money, according to a study I saw, comes from oil, gas, and coal. So of course they're not for it. Okay. And the third thing it does, which doesn't deal with the Senate, but definitely affects the House of Representatives, is makes redistricting impartial and fair. If the Republicans get their way, they're going to redesign the districts. We could lose 15 or 20 seats in the House and lose the whole House of Representatives.
Which, by the way, I hago una pausa. I pause here because esa es la importancia de llenar el censo del 2020, la importancia de tomar quiénes somos y participar en ese censo, porque ahora lo que se refirió el senador Schumer es de una rediagramación de las líneas congresionales. I'm explaining the whole redistricting part, which is going on right now as a result of the 20, which was flawed because they wanted to cheat in that too. Am I right on that?
Es correcto.
Okay.
Did I say it right?
Yes, es correcto, es right.
Sin duda.
Sin duda, that's right. Senador, me lleva al punto, no solamente democracia, el derecho al voto, the right to vote, what we come here, people have died for that.
That's what our soldiers fight for, right.
We just had a program in which we interviewed 2 mothers of soldiers that were not citizens, and they came into gain for that. They were deported, Senator. How can we be so, how do you change that? What do you say to those mothers, and there's thousands of them, that they come in for a chance to be citizens and...
Yes, so there are 2 parts to this. The first part, Biden administration can do on its own. Stop the deportations. Trump deported just about everybody and looked for the slightest excuse. If you had a hangnail, he'd say, you should be deported. That can be stopped. But what we really need is a path to citizenship for all of these people. The DACA, the farm worker, the frontline worker, and all of the 11 million. And that is the very bill that I put together with McCain is a model for the bill that Biden put in. It's carried by Senator Menendez, our senator from New Jersey. I'm a co-sponsor. And we would love to get that passed. Now, that takes 60 votes, and we don't have Republicans. So we are trying to get as much of it as we can in what's called this arcane process called reconciliation, where suffice it to say, we don't have to get into all the complicated details.
No, of course.
You don't need 60 votes in reconciliation, and we might be able to do parts of this bill there.
Okay.
And then I have to get all 50 of my Democrats to vote for it, but that's easier than getting Republicans.
You've given us a lot of time. I don't want to abuse the time you're giving us. Senator, I'm fascinated by getting a chance to listen to you firsthand. You're not making news here, but you are telling us for an audience that really needs to hear from you. because you have right now, it's not only the purse of the nation, it's the pulse of the nation. La cartera y el pulso de la nación. You're seeing, it's like all concentrated in Washington, D.C. I personally, like maybe thousands or millions of people, I'm very concerned about your safety, the safety of those that we elect. After January 6th, I don't want to compare it to 9/11, but we were all shocked when we saw the Pentagon attack. We thought it was, nobody could penetrate that Pentagon. Y ese temor, and I'm from the Bronx, you're from Brooklyn, we don't scare easy. No,
I'm a Yankee fan, though. I'm not Mets, I'm Yankees.
I'm a Yankee. Oh, man, there we go, Yankee fans, that's right. So
they lost last night.
I know, but it's okay. We're there. We got 27 World Series. I'm sorry, this is not a sports show, but Senador, are we legitimately concerned about something we shouldn't, or are we the January 6th insurrection?
Let me tell you my story, okay? So I learned early in the morning, January 6th, that I'm going to become majority leader because the elections in Georgia were the 2 days before. It was the day before.
The 5th.
The 5th. So I learned at 4 in the morning I'm going to be the majority leader. My reaction is both joy, but also a sense of deep responsibility. So much on our shoulders, and our Democratic majority of only 50, very hard to get 50 on anything. Okay. I can't sleep. I learned that at 4 in the morning. I can't sleep. I'm in Brooklyn. Drive down my car to Washington, D.C., get on the Senate floor at 1 p.m., my first time as the putative majority leader. Within an hour, police officer with a bulletproof vest and a big submachine gun across his waist grabs me by the collar like this. I'll never forget that. Says, "Senator, you're in danger." Wait, let me just, "You're in danger." "What do you mean?" I said. He explained to me. "We got to get out of here." The overhead cameras caught this on film, and it was shown in the impeachment trial and shown on TV. We walk out the Senate chamber door. I turn to the right, walking briskly with the police officer on either side. We go through a door, then you can't see us, and 20 seconds later, we're running out the door the other way. I was within 25 feet. I'm not allowed to curse, so I won't on your show.
We'll bleep it out. I can take a curse. No, go ahead.
From these sons of guns, but worse. Had one of them had a gun? Had 2 of them blocked off the door? Who knows what would have happened? And it was reported that one of them saw me and said, "Let's get the big Jew." A bigot against one is a bigot against all. It was one of the worst days in our history. And just now, to show you how our Republican Party has so turned, we couldn't even get 10 Republicans to vote to have a bipartisan 50-50 investigation into what happened. Now, either Joe Biden or Pelosi and I will put together our own team, but we would have preferred it to be bipartisan. But yes, there is some danger. I get threats. Now, I go forward. I have very good protection, but that's the world we're in these days.
I bring you back, and we're going to almost conclude, and we appreciate your time, to January 5th of 2020. You and I stood on the Manhattan side, along with thousands. It was in excess of 30,000, as I remember. And it was at the foot of the bridge on the Manhattan side.
Yes,
and there was a march, the No Hate, No Fear Solidarity March.
Right, I remember.
The nation has taken a turn for such ugliness. We walked across the bridge, Brooklyn Bridge. You were there. You led the march. There were other people of all faiths.
Everything.
And people, non-believers, Democrats, Republicans. I remember even Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was there, the youngest of the members. What is the nation coming to? That Chinese people, Asian people being attacked for no reason whatsoever. ¿En qué planeta estamos? ¿Qué ha pasado con este? What is going to get done at the federal level?
Well, when we have passed legislation dealing with this recent Asian issue. They didn't pay enough attention, the Justice Department, to anti-Asian hate. We have a hate crimes bill, which can allow the federal government to step in, which I helped pass early on. Now we've extended, made sure there are special people in there about Asians. But there is so much, there is hate brought on by demagogues, Trump et al. And here's the thing. Has there been racism in America all along? Yes. But we've always tried, Democrat, Republican, to push it down. Trump lifted it up. He did. He either encouraged it or, when it happened, never discouraged it at the very minimum. We have an obligation to push it back down, to speak out strongly. I do, whether it's it's anti-Hispanic, anti-immigrant, anti-black, anti-Asian, anti-Semitic. I'm always speaking out. We have to. But the other thing we have to do relates to what I said before. Give people a positive path. People will believe the positive path when the demagogues come, if they believe it will happen. If they don't believe it will happen, we're in greater danger. So we have an obligation to help people who need help, of every part of the country, of every race, creed, religion, and color, and have a path forward.
I'm not going to abuse more of your time. This is great conversation. I hope we can continue, but I have an exit question.
Go ahead.
Charles Ellis Schumer started at the age of 25, going to Albany, New York, elected...
23.
You were 23.
I was elected 23, yeah.
That's right. Okay, so there you go. You see, he's a baby. You were practically in Pampers. But seriously, you started at 23. You get elected. We're now the same age.
Right.
We're senior citizens. We're 70. We're energy and all that. What do you tell those young viewers? I want you to look straight into the camera. There are young Latinas and Latinos. We had a Colombian who was a teacher. She is the teacher of the year from Colombia.
We have a lot of Colombians in New York.
A lot of Colombians in New York. They're good people. They come here to change, to contribute. What about those young people that are still in high school, college, beginning, and they think, I want to be like Chuck Schumer? Is that dream, should they go into politics?
Yes, and look at all the new people who are at the city council, the assembly, the Senate, even, people like Jamal Bowman or Mondaire Jones or Richie Torres, young people who have gotten ahead and now have real power. The system still can work, and I would encourage young people to get involved, because the more activity we have from progressive people, from people who care, from decent people, the better our system will be. It's a fulfilling, there's nothing, and this our scriptures tell us, there's nothing better than helping people, and you can still do it. And I encourage young people to get involved. We've seen more involvement recently. Keep it up. We need more of you.
So if you had to do it all over again, you still get into politics?
I'd still get into politics. I am a natural optimist. God gave me a lot of energy. I found the right place for it, Gerson.
El nombre de él es Charles Ellis Schumer. No lo olviden, es el senador que más importancia tiene en el país. Está ayudando a corregir los males que tiene la nación ahora mismo, luego de la era del presidente Trump. Sea usted republicano o demócrata, la nación tiene un propósito. The nation has to stay the course of making it better for everyone. Le damos las gracias al senador Chuck Schumer y le deseamos suerte. Please stay well, stay healthy.
Thank you, Gerson.
And I expect to see you soon on the 5th Avenue. He used to go to Puerto Rican Day Parade when it was being held. So what was your favorite saying? Qué bonita banda. He had a bullhorn by himself.
Said, ¿Dónde están los boricuas? Aquí, ahí.
He did it. I saw him. How many parades did you go to? 40?
Oh, hundreds. Well, all over. I went to Bronx Parade, Brooklyn Parade, the Manhattan Parade, many parades each year.
And he enjoyed it. He went from side to side. I don't know the energy. He's I think they're special batteries that Chuck Schumer has. Senador, muchísimas gracias.
Thank you. My pleasure,
God bless
Gerson.
you. Thank you.
Stay well. Keep doing the good job you're doing.
Thank you, sir. Hope
care.
to see you soon.
Muchas gracias por acompañarnos en esta edición especial de Estudio DC. Soy Gerson Borrero y hasta la próxima.